I don't know if I have a bad marriage or not. Friends and family say they haven't liked my husband for a long time. Throw away for the usual reasons. I'm a long-time Reddit lurker, and I really don't want to be one of those OPs that buries the lead, so I'm going to try my best to include everything important to this situation to get objective advice. Sorry for the long post. I, 30F, met my husband, 33M, at the end of 2015, and we got married very quickly within 6 months. We started dating when he was on a visa, so I proposed marriage. We were young and stupid, me especially, so since I wasn't over a situationship I had been in with a guy friend when I met husband. As much as I tried my best to express and show husband that I love him and he came first, I was emotionally unfaithful to him by still being in love with guy friend. We agreed to an open marriage about a year in, to keep being young and dumb while staying together. It, very surprisingly, worked for a while. Eventually, I hit a point where my depression was kicking my ass, and husband really supported me through that time. I was a lot to deal with, so I appreciate how much he did to keep me alive. But I also found out he was hiding more dates from me than I was led to believe. He even brought a girl home to our bed once and had to scramble to wash the comforter they were on before I got home. It hurt a lot, but I understood why he would hide it. He didn't want me to feel worse when I was already at a bad point. And it's not like I didn't do my own share of shitty things, like my emotional infidelity. Eventually, I sucked it up and accepted it was fair. Life went on and we continued with the open marriage, but I worked a lot harder at establishing hard boundaries with guy friend and moving on. Years later, after we closed the marriage in preparation for a child, things changed when the baby arrived. He had been attending law school while working, so husband was always stressed out or frustrated. Baby hit every sleep regression and was overall pretty fussy, and husband couldn't stand the sound of him crying. He punched a hole in the wall one particularly bad night. It hurt to see him so angry, and I felt bad that I couldn't soothe the baby well enough or predict his needs in time to keep him from crying. Husband would apologize for his outbursts. The way he put it is that while my depression is more classic sad, his expresses more through frustration, and it sucked that his symptoms of depression weren't acceptable like mine were. I pointed out that mine didn't put holes in walls, but I still understood what he was saying. I felt bad that he always had to hide his feelings or hold himself back, so I wanted to be a safe person to vent to and to be himself at home because he couldn't help that was his reaction, like I couldn't help shitting down when my depression kicked up. I wanted to support him like he supported me. I've been a bit of a married single parent as our son grew up. Husband signed up for adult rec leagues, would go out with law school classmates, network with potential work connections, etc. I encourage all of it because I want him to be able to unwind and do what he needs to stay mentally well. He bears the invisible load in our lives, dealing with finances to maintain our assets and working the more stressful and better paying job, so it's fair I take on the traditional working wife role. I'll still be sure to take care of him if I'm sick, but don't ask to care for me in return. I can actually have a sick day and not do anything. He needs to still worry about deadlines and other issues, time lost and never really getting a break. It's been like this for years. I do my best to take care of house chores and carry more of the emotional load in our relationship, while he takes care of the rest. I do my best to help where I can, but he takes on the responsibility of everything else in our lives. I found out recently that he was semi-cheating. He had a dating profile and had been sexting/exchanging pics with various women for who knows how long. He even went on a couple of dates. He promised nothing physical happened. Not even a kiss, but I don't know if I believe that. Even if it's true, he still went on the date. If the possibility for physical intimacy was presented, who's to say he wouldn't have gone for it? This devastated me, but I stayed. I knew we had always viewed sex differently, and I know in his head, it isn't serious. To him it's like corn, which I don't have an issue with. He just does it while he zones out. I understand this about him, so as much as I wanted to be really angry, I couldn't be. I didn't have a right to be upset for myself, especially with how everything started in our relationship. What has been getting to me, though, is how he's been to our child. He's a good dad now. I still do most of the legwork because I have to, but he's more present and involved with our son. He likes to cuddle him, read to him, play his imaginary games. But he also corrects me and overpowers my parenting choices. I try to be stern, and he says I don't have to be that mean. I'm gentle? He yells and says I need to be better at discipline. Heaven forbid I ever criticize him on his tone or actions. If I say it's not a big deal or something to yell at, he gets upset at me too. If I say he needs to correct an action, he says I need to relax and let him handle it. I feel awful for thinking this way, but I've been doing it this whole time and our son has gotten so much praise and love from his and our friends. The hiccups are normal kid things, as assured by his doctor, speech therapist, and teachers. But it feels like now, I all of a sudden can't do anything right these last few months since he's stepped up. His preferences already took priority in how I would react to our son misbehaving. I'd give in and placate him to avoid a meltdown, triggering my husband's anger. If it was something I didn't want to give in to, I would leave with our son so he could melt down on a drive. It feels so unappreciated. To find out that I've been trying so hard, but he still chose to message other women sucked for me. But the fact he would get so upset at the normal child things our son would do that interrupted him from relaxing? It stirs something in me and I want to let it out, but I'm just too worried I'll be wrong too. I've already heard from family and friends multiple times that they don't like how he treats us. They haven't liked him or how he parents for a while. How he wants to be a dad, but doesn't want to take care of a child. I always defend him because of our history as described above. I know he loves us and I know that he's a good person. He does so much to keep us afloat and I want to be able to help him keep himself up, too. But I'm very tired and hurt lately. A friend we went hiking with heard the story of how we met and Wash gushing on and on about how we make her believe in a perfect love and I wanted to cry. I felt awful and like I was lying to someone who was being so sincere. I don't know what to think or feel. I want to take care of him and our son loves him so much. It feels unfair to suddenly decide to separate after I chose to move forward, but things don't really feel like they've changed much with us. It seems so shitty of me to leave, even though he seems to finally enjoy one-on-one time with our son and being a father. How do I even try to talk to him about this if I choose to stick it out? How do I communicate that I don't want him to be the one to put in the work to ease my guilt for everything I put him though, but I also don't want to hate myself forever? And if things get better, how do I convince my friends and family that it's real improvement? Update. Clearly, the answer was yes, it's a bad marriage. It's been a bit, and the disappointing choice I made was to stay. I don't want to stay, but I don't know how to leave at this point. I know he's not been a good husband for a while, and only recently started to pick up as a father, but I'm so overwhelmingly terrified of leaving. It's been 10 years, and our lives are so tangled together that it feels impossible to separate, and I'm scared of what might break and tear in the process, like our son. He made real improvements for a couple of months, and I was really hopeful we could get back to what we used to be. He spent more time with us, let me get out of the house, and it felt like he was generally calmer and trying to control his reactions more. That started to slow down, and the last few weeks have felt similar to before I found out about the cyber cheating. I want to make it very clear I still don't believe he's a bad person. I think he is actually a very good and loyal friend to have. But I don't think he's a good partner to me. He's short with me when he's stressed, and he's stressed all the time. It's for the same reasons that won't go away anytime soon. His job is super stressful, he's an attorney, so this is true. Finances are tight, this is true, too, because everything is so expensive now. And he has a lot on his plate project-wise for our home. He started building a new room for our son and needs to install a new water heater he got. It's for the future of our home cost. I get that these are all completely valid stressors, but it's also just what our life is. I don't have it in me excuse his treatment of me as an emotional punching bag and let him be way more mean to me than anyone else, saying it's just him willing to be comfortable and uninhibited with me. Why does the uninhibited him have to be an ass? I don't think I've been able to try as hard as I did when I thought he was being faithful. I don't go the extra mile to try and make things as good as possible at home. I really do so deeply appreciate everything he does. But I already did that and he still cheated. I'm still grateful for all he handles, but I'm more passive and nod and do what I need to for us to stay on moderate terms. It really clicked recently when I was hoping he was cheating again to give me an out. He's been building the room, we have travel plans set up for the holidays, and he's planning more things for the future, and I want to tell him to stop because that's going to trap me for that much longer, and I'm tired. It feels like my presence annoys him if I'm not doing something productive, but it hasn't bothered me as much as it did. I've been back to weekly therapy and have a steady medication plan for the first time in 6 years. Funny how that goes with the fact that for the first time in 6 years, I started to consider it probably isn't me that's the problem. I can see the picture that if it was any of my friends, I would agree it's a bad situation and tell them to separate. I'm self-aware of my mental illnesses and the effect they have on how I think or react to situations, and it's unfortunate because I'm not doing much to change that reaction. It's like if it's raining outside, you can see it and know there's a blue sky beyond the clouds, but that's not going to do shit and it'll keep raining until it's not. I'm working on grabbing the metaphorical umbrella. If I can't stop the rain, I can at least keep myself from getting soaked by it. I'm still worried I'm some awful, manipulative person that twists scenarios to make myself look better, but usually narcissistic people don't worry about being a narcissist. Even with everything in this post, I feel so guilty for talking about him badly. That I should feel shitty for putting our drama onto the internet and painting him as this horrible villain that I know he isn't. But I still made the post. I think I'm mostly writing all of this to try and work through it myself. Putting the abstract thoughts into words to understand them a bit, and maybe find some reassurance or a good kick in the ass in the process. When is there ever a good or better time to tell him that I don't want to be his wife anymore? How do I even begin to talk to him about all of this in a way that won't devolve into my being wrong? How do I navigate ending a 10-year relationship with a child and lots of debt in the mix?